Go live. There we go. Okay, we should be live a couple of minutes early, so if anybody happens to already be on, if you can give us an audio check and a video sync check, if I'm doing anything crazy like this, and I almost flipped my ring out of the room, that would have sucked. Just let me know if anything's goofy on the video or audio, but we'll wait till the official 7:30 mark before we get started so that we don't start too early, but this is just kind of a pre-live, whatever. I'm rambling.
Pre-live.
Hi.
Hey.
Ryan and Bri here, and we're going to get ready to start the HiFi for Bri series. I don't know, this is number 5, I think? Yeah, it's number 5.
I've lost track.
I mean, it's alive, so we didn't really call it like a number because it's alive, but you get to do some impressions on this one, so...
I do.
As I said, I'm going to actually mute my phone here, but if we're going to be awkwardly silent, it's only because we're waiting for 7:30 to start before we start the stream, and then once this goes to a replay, I'll maybe cut out this beginning rambling that people probably don't care to hear. So let me just mute this and use my fancy stand for this phone.
Yeah, I think I have mine. I should have that on.
Do you have the do you have this up on our YouTube?
That's what I was just pulling up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Will you type something in your chat?
Yeah.
Because that way I know something pops in there and says hello. I'll do the same thing actually. Okay. Well, from our end, there's no technical issues, and that's how it always goes for me.
Yeah.
No technical issues from my side until somebody tells me they can't hear me, or I'm only coming out of one channel of the audio.
Or there's an echo.
Or there's an echo, or whatever else. But I think this is okay. I messed with this quite a while earlier today to make sure we were synced up. But again, it's not 7:30 yet, so
Yeah.
we'll wait a couple more minutes here before we start talking more about the actual video. Okay. Are you ready to give impressions?
I am.
All your notes down?
No.
I'm not prepared. I have no notes. I literally wrote down impressions live, stage 3, hype 4, and M12i. That's all I wrote. So I hope I can remember everything that I heard, but I mean, it's mostly about you anyway. It's not about me, so.
Well, and I hope I've got some good impressions of my own, so.
It's your impressions.
I know.
It is good. Doesn't have to be what everybody wants to hear terminology-wise.
Right, right.
And we don't have to plot out a graph. It looks like this. So. All right. Well, it is 7:30 on the dot, so we are going to get started because if anybody does join in, I would think they'd want to hear us start talking about this. So,
Yeah.
So to kind of lay this out, we got an hour. We got our kids gone for an hour, so that's about all Grandma can handle with them. So we got to go grab them here after the stream's over. So we're gonna, so we're gonna get through this, but I am gonna keep this to an hour as much as I can. So the whole idea of this obviously is to give some impressions of gear, and you can't see it, but we've got this like smorgasbord of gear sitting in front of us here of everything that we've both listened to, but Bri's listened to so far. And we didn't really decide on an order of anything to talk about. Maybe until we happen to see if Warren makes it on, we'll save stage 3 until then, because I know that was a personal recommendation of his. But why don't you just start with, I don't know, just what, did anything surprise you? Let's put it that way. Good or bad?
No, actually, first of all, I just want to say that this has been just an incredible experience, because I think early on when you got into this, you'd let me listen to something and I'd totally be like, I don't know, they all sound the same, you know? So actually getting to sit down with different IEMs and different dongles and DACs and all of that, and seeing the differences, or I should say hearing the differences, has been eye-opening for me. with the audio world. So, yeah, so it's just been incredible. And yeah, I think everything has been pretty positive and good. And then I've also gotten to notice like where my preferences lie and things that I don't like necessarily. So that's been pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, like I said, guys, if anybody is out there, let us know if the audio level's okay. I can see them on my side here, but I can never tell if it's loud enough or too loud. And we got a new microphone. I haven't mentioned that in any of my videos, but I have a shotgun mic now, so no more mic in front of our face to worry about and more cables. And this is nice. It's up out of the way, and it's kind of dangerous for my kids, so we keep them away from it. But yeah, it's Sennheiser mic. It's a, oh my gosh, I should know the name of this, MKH-600, something like that. But it's a good microphone. I've been happy with it so far, and was happy to be able to use this on the stream for both of us. So I guess the other thing I should mention now before we get into this is I know we don't have everything in that made the list or made the final list, and I don't think we're going to be able to get everything in. In fact, I'll just give a spoiler alert after what you've listened to. I think we've kind of both decided there's no reason for any other dongle DACs, to be honest, because the differences that you've heard between those aren't really quite enough as compared to the IEMs, which makes sense. Anybody in this audiophile hobby knows that it's all about the IEM or the headphone first, the amp or DAC after. So, and you know, we'll get into that here when we talk about that. But what do you want to maybe start with first?
You know, I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the Hype 4, and I'm gonna change my page here because I've got different pages for each of them.
All right. So, sorry. Since you're going to talk about those, we'll
show off how beautiful they are.
Now, I'm going to have to not look at the camera to see if this will pick up because I don't have any like B-roll to flash for you guys. But yeah, that picked up. That is the Hype 4, and I agree. I mean, it is a beautiful IEM, and I got to say, like, what you guys may or may not know, and actually, if you want to hold those, that's fine. The box they come in is incredible, and the way they display them, it's like legit jewelry. Yeah. So anyways.
No, and I was gonna actually say like based off the presentation of how they basically package it for you, it's just beautiful.
It is.
And even seeing, I knew they were pretty before we got them in, and they came in, and like you said, it was like jewelry. They just sparkle. They're gorgeous. There's all these little flecks in it. So pretty. So they're packaged really well. Like I said, no surprise that they were beautiful. And then I don't know much about cables, but I do think that this is a really nice cable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I guess
what do you like about the cable?
Now I will say when I get to the Stage 3, I think the Stage 3 has a better cable, but
Agreed.
It's just, I don't know. I mean, I could tell that it seems like it's a good quality cable, but I haven't used a lot of IEMs to know the differences between them, but I'm sure they vary depending on, the maker.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing with that cable is I've noticed when you've used it anyway, it doesn't like get caught up on anything, and that can be annoying when you have bad cables that are just like janky and caught around your leg when you're trying to, I don't know, whatever. So go ahead, sorry.
So I thought it was nice. Everything was beautiful upon looking at it. I know I've used that adjective a lot, but
okay.
Yeah. But then I know that some of you had actually warned us that it was going to be a big IEM. And I wasn't necessarily afraid of the outer shell of it being big. That doesn't bother me so much. But I will say it is quite painful inside my ear. So I tried my best to work through it. Because even the smallest tips, they're also big. So, but like you said, the nozzle is big as well. So it almost felt like the nozzle is like riding inside my like ear canal, I guess I should say. And then like you pointed out, even the tip has a kind of hard ridged insert I don't know the terminology for it, but what wraps around it with the tip.
I don't think there's a technical terminology for it, but yeah, I mean, it's a solid insert around the nozzle, which is good to keep it on, but I do think that adds to some of the comfort or discomfort.
Yeah, because like even you had mentioned that it hurt your ears as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was never a big IM person. I'm starting to get more into them as I've gotten deeper into the hobby, but there's still IMs that bother my ears, and the HiFi is one of them. I can get used to it, but I always know they're in my ear. It's not one that you put in and you're like, oh, I forgot I'm wearing them. No,
Right.
I don't forget
You're
I'm wearing them.
very much aware.
So, yeah.
I think for me, like and it sets in pretty much like 5-10 minutes in. And especially if you're having to readjust it a lot, like I felt like it was scratching against my ear canal, like also taking them out that just ached and itched, and it just felt like everything was stretched out in there. So very large for my little ears. So that was the disappointing part because I thought they were gorgeous, but...
Sorry, if you don't mind, will you put these in?
Yeah.
Since you said very large for your small ears, I think it's a good time to demo.
Yeah.
As I got the cable tangled up, but while she's doing that, yeah, I'll also speak on the comfort part a little bit more and just tell you that the large tips is what I use for my ears, and they do fit, they do seal, I had no problem with that, but because of the chunky size of them, they do kind of bother my ear after a little while, and I do find a little bit of soreness after I wear them for a while, and I know some people have said they're very comfortable. Again, IEMs are just like anything else. It's going to be very subjective on fit and comfort and things like that for your ears. But for me personally, not the most comfortable IEM I've worn, but also I've worn others that were definitely worse than these. We'll just say that. But okay, so yeah, I mean, you can see how they're pretty large in Bri's ears. They don't look bad by any means. They're pretty large in your ears. And,
yeah.
But they do have that, I mean, pretty look. Sorry, we're looking at
know.
the
Sorry,
TV
we're all
screen
over.
up there,
We have
so.
like our laptop here and the TV here, and I've got the phone with our page pulled up here, so we're kind of all over the place.
But they do look really pretty, I gotta admit. So, sorry, I didn't mean to disrupt that, but yeah, I thought everybody should at least see what they look like in your ears, and then you can give your impressions of the HiFi.
Yeah, so I actually, aside from them hurting my ears, that's the disappointing part, because I actually liked the sound a lot. So for me, because I know this one was recommended a lot, but I also know that we were warned about it a lot. So, but for me, for liking more vocal focused music, it definitely has those vocal forward. It's awesome on vocals and detail and everything, which is what I appreciate. It had great bass. The instrumentals, now this is where I didn't think I was going to be able to tell that there was a difference between the DACs, but that's where I kind of noticed. So when I tried the Questyle M12 and the RU7, I kind of got similar... what do I want to say? A similar experience with both of them.
Yep.
So the instrumentals, it's like they were just like almost there to my liking, but just not quite. So the vocals were on point, but the instrumentals were just missing a little bit for what I like. Now when we tried the DC Elite, that opened it up much more. I was able to hear a lot more of the instrumentals that I liked with the vocals, so that actually was surprising, because at first I was thinking, man, it's just the size of them that, that was a issue. And then it turned into, okay, well, it's the size, and I'm just not getting exactly what I want from it. But then after putting it on this other DAC, I definitely was like, oh, now it is just the size, because I would really enjoy these if I could actually tolerate the the size of them.
Yeah, and just to be clear on something, so the DC Elite's not something that was on our list. I'll show you guys that there for a second. So this is my list. I actually have a review dropping on the DC Elite tomorrow, but I had it, so why not listen to it? It's a flagship dongle DAC, so I wasn't surprised that she got a good listening impression of it. It is different than the RU7 and the Questyle M12i, but it has, the DC Elite just has a full sound. I was really excited when you told me that you heard a difference between the DACs, because no offense at all, but I mean, amateur audio enthusiast here, not that I'm a pro by any means, but what I'm saying is a lot of people have said, you know, oh, you can't tell the difference between DACs. Yes, you can. But you have to know what you're listening for, and you have to listen to your own music, right?
Yeah.
I mean, something that you know.
That was like the biggest thing that I think that you had taught me. It was just that, you know, you have to be familiar with the music you're listening to know what you're looking for. And then depending on which DAC you're using, that's the best way you're going to be able to tell if it's giving you, for me, like I like emotion from my music. So it's like, if it's giving me the emotion that I like, great. If it's not, then I'm like, okay, something's wrong, something's different. And then switching in between them, when I find one that actually is like giving me that, I'm like, okay, it really is. There is a difference between the DACs. Like you can tell a difference. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so. No, very cool. Did you have anything else on the HiFi?
Oh, other than I still would like to give them a little bit longer of a chance if we could find, I know we're kind of like shopping around for maybe some smaller tips or something that might, you know.
So I want to give a shout out to Elitech. They have agreed to send me some of their, I think they're called the Baroque tips. Hopefully I said that right. But they're really soft Japanese silicone tips. They're highly recommended to use and to try, and so I am excited to try them, or at least I'm excited for you to try them. Let me put it that way, for the Hype 4, because I'm hoping that maybe a softer tip will help. It may not, but I mean, at least it's worth the try to try it out.
Yeah, I mean, the nozzle's still large in that IEM, so I'm hoping maybe that tip will cushion it a little bit better, or, you know, or whatnot. But yeah, so I'm still giving it a chance. It's not completely ruled out yet. So
I'm glad we're audiophiles. That's all I can say. Just the topics that we talk about here with the insertion and anyways. Yeah, I guess I'll give a quick impression too, because I'm not actually going to do a review necessarily of the Hype 4. That's kind of what we were using this for. And again, Linsol sent these out to us. Thank you so much to Linsol. We do appreciate that. And I definitely wanted to do good by them and make sure we give a good full impression. So what I can say of the Hype 4 is pretty similar to what Bri was saying. Like, the bass response of these is incredible. They have a good amount of slam into the bass, and you'll see this on my DC Elite review video tomorrow. But this with the Hype 4 was a really good pairing, because this gives a lot of impact to the low end, and it really opens up the sound fully for a device, and it did that with the Hype 4. And I also didn't find the Hype 4 to be too awfully bright or fatiguing or spicy, but it wasn't dead. And, you know, you'll find that out here in a second, which talks about one of the other IMs. But no, I thought the Hype 4 was a good, just all-round, smooth listen with some really good bass slam to it and good details. So, and yeah, I mean, you heard our thoughts on the fit and comfort of them. It is what it is. That's just our impressions of it. But very impressed overall with the Hype 4. If the comfort can just be a little bit better, then it's a slam dunk, in my opinion.
They had already sold me on the look and presentation and all of that. And then hearing the sound, I was like, man, this is incredible. So I wish that fit was a little bit more comfortable.
We will see. We'll definitely let you guys know. So what are we on to next?
I don't think Warren has hopped on, but
He may not make it on, so we can.
He's a busy guy.
Yes, he is.
So I am going to talk about the Stage 3 because Warren really pushed this one because of the size, which I will say I did love the fit of them. I love the cable. It's beautiful. Like, I'll hold that up. Yeah.
It is. I mean, obviously they're all black, so it's going to be hard to pick up good shots of this, but you can tell the cable right there. I mean, that nice braided, thick cable lays flat, doesn't kink up or anything like that. It's got the logo on the barrel here, the adjustment. I mean, the cable's beautiful, honestly. Very nice job with the cable, and it's modular so that you can switch it out between a balance connection. They have a 2.5 connection and also a 3.5 connection. Super easy to swap out for listening. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thoughts there. Go ahead.
No worries. The only thing I was kind of disappointed in, and it's not even a big deal because if I really loved these ones, I was willing to look past this. I think they're a little boring looking. I mean, they fit great. They look, I mean, like I said, the cable's great. But the solid black with just the, name on it. Definitely not. Yeah.
I like them.
But as I've said, I'm a girl, so I like
get it.
the pretty things.
Yep.
But like I said, if I would have loved them, I would have looked past all that. So
yeah, they're not. What you're saying is it's not like they're butt ugly.
No,
they're not like poop brown or something like that. But yeah.
But yeah, so the funny thing about, well, I shouldn't even, I mean, it's not that it's funny for anybody else, but for me, like, it's eye-opening that through this, I actually have discovered, I know in the past, like, you would describe sound as being bright and whatnot, and I didn't quite understand what that was until I was listening for things that I enjoy in music. So for me, like, I've discovered in this process, I do like a more bright headphone or IEM, and because I like the rawness in a artist's voice. That's why I like a lot of vocal forward music. So I like the rawness and the smoke and the tones and, if they have that ache in there, like I want all of that. So the only issue that I mainly had with the Stage 3 is it is a more warm headphone. So initially when I tried it on the RU7 and the Questyle, it was pretty and it was pleasant. I think I kept referring to that. It was pleasant on the ear, but it wasn't evoking any of the emotion and the feeling that I like from my music. So yeah, so it just while it was pretty, it was kind of boring for me. I found even though the Hype 4 hurt my ears, I could sit and listen to that one and just I think one night it was super late at night, but I was listening for over an hour, just like full songs, getting into my music. And then I put the Stage 3 in, and I couldn't even just make it through one song because I just wasn't getting, I was like searching for what I was trying to find like a song that evoked those feelings and emotions, and I just couldn't get it. So, but then again, we tried the DC Elite, and that changed it as well. So the funny thing between the two that I'm talking about right now, where the Hype 4 didn't really have the instrumentals I liked, once it was on the DC Elite, the instrumentals were there. And then for the Stage 3, I had great instrumentals, just not really into the vocals because I just wanted them brighter. And putting it on the DC Elite actually brought out more vocals. So I was texting him, like he was in the office and I'm like in bed listening to music, and I'm just texting him going, is it possible for the DAC to actually correct the items in two separate, to not have instruments in one and not have vocals that I like in the other, and it somehow correct those pieces for each of those? So that was a really cool experience, I think, to have happen. So, I mean, I think that it's still.
Hang on a second. Sorry, no, you're good. You're good. First of all, what up, Alex? Thank you for joining. Very much appreciate that.
Beef Supreme.
And Universal Baba, yes, K688. Been a while since I've used that, but absolutely, yeah, I do think it's a good buy for the price. But what I wanted Alex to hear, if you missed it, was, can you hear a difference in DACs?
I can.
Sorry, I think that's cool. So
I know I don't want to go back over all of that.
No, you don't have to.
No,
but yeah,
that was a really cool, like I said, cool experience.
Well, and that's why I brought up when you were listening to Stage 3, I was like, you need to go back and listen to the DC Elite again, because what happened was you got these in, you listened to the Stage 3 for a little bit, you didn't really care for it, you moved on to the Hype 4, and I think you were listening to the Stage 3 on the M12i, and I told you, I was like, I really think you need to try this, because this just, I don't want to spoil my review too much of this that'll come out tomorrow, but this thing just has a very full sound to it. And not knocking on the other DACs that we have, because the other DACs are very good too. They all have their things that they do well, but this just has a very full sound. And I call it a gap filler, and I hope that kind of made sense now that you've listened to other things of what I mean by a gap filler, of just how it can fill up your inner room with sound.
Yeah.
It's an incredible dongle. It's a $450 dongle too, but it's an incredible dongle, and I was glad. But did that make you love the Stage 3?
No, unfortunately
No,
not.
and that's okay.
It
Yeah,
gave me what
exactly.
it gave me a little bit of like what I was like, sorry, what I was lacking with the Stage 3, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that I've had better experiences with some others. So.
Completely fair assessment, because that's what this hobby's all about, is personal preferences, and what I like you may not like, and vice versa.
Right.
Now, the one thing I would say for my personal impression, again, the Stage 3 is not one that we're going to do a full review on. This is truly the review that we're doing on it now, and I'll give my thoughts, because big shout out to Bloom, who did send out the Stage 3 and the Questyle M12i to us. And, I definitely wanted to give them their due for that, and to spend a little bit of time talking about this, because, I'm not a big IEM guy, but these, in my opinion, are incredible. I do like the recommendation from Warren. And again, this just goes difference of opinion. That's perfectly fine. Like, I do like vocal focused music as well, but these just do a lot of things right and don't really do much wrong, in my opinion. They're a smooth listen.
Yeah.
They do have a good amount of slam into the bass as well. Not as much as the Hype 4, but they have a good and decent amount, and it's accurate. I think these are more detailed than the Hype 4. I think these have better resolution than the Hype 4. It's not a ton, but they definitely do, for my ears anyway. But I know what you mean, because they're not bright, which is fine. A lot of people are going to like that because it's a little bit tame into the treble region. And in fact, when I listened with the RU7 here with the Stage 3, I got a little more treble focus than I did with the DC Elite, and I never thought of the RU7 as a brighter DAC, but I think actually compared to some of these other ones it is. And I think that's what you were kind of missing, even though it wasn't bright enough on the Stage 3 for you. I think that's what you're talking about that you're missing, is that presence region. I think it's somewhere in the upper mid range and lower treble that you get that that focus of a vocalist, and also mid forward type presentation. It's just not really that. It's more of a relaxed, warm listen with the Stage 3. Like I said, I think it's an incredible IM, especially for the price. It's $650, or it's somewhere in the $600 range. So it would have taken up a lot of our budget to get it. So I understand that. But yeah, I think it's a really good IM. I didn't really have a lot of faults when I was listening to it with the DC Elite, with the RU7, even on the M12i. No, I just think it sounds really good. And for the total package, the build, the fit, those fit incredibly comfortable in my ears. That's one IM that kind of did disappear in my ear when I listened to it, and sealed really well. And I think the cable's lovely. And you get that Pelican case if you want to break that out.
I had that in my notes. So it's a nice little hard shell case.
Yeah, so. You carry that around, somebody's like, well, I don't know what they would think. But yeah, it's just all around just very good total package with the Stage 3. Unfortunately, not your favorite, but that's okay.
But I'm not knocking it. It was a great IEM. It's just for my personal preference of what I listen to, I wanted more from it. But for someone who likes that warmer kind of experience, it was great. Like I said, it gives you a very pretty, smoothed out, pleasant experience. So if you're looking for something more relaxed in that way, they're perfect for that. So
right,
yeah.
Exactly. Well, why don't we move on and talk about, I know this is going to be a little bit more difficult to talk about just a DAC, and this is the M12i, and it's tiny, and the cable that it comes with, I don't even know, well, I guess that does focus in, stiff cable. I don't like the cable, but whatever. Why don't you talk about the M12i?
Well, I wish I could say I had a great experience with it, but I don't know if it was user error or technical difficulties with,
was not user error.
with it. So a lot of times when I was using it, I'd get 2-3 songs in. It's like everything would crash and it would shut down, and then I'd have to restart my music program all over again, and then I'd get this like a, did you ever hear the buzzing?
No.
Oh, okay. So,
No, I never got buzzing.
yeah, so while it was like, if you after you unplugged it, like it was doing this like buzzing thing in my ear if I still had my IEMs in, and so I'd have to take the IEMs out because it was really loud and annoying. Yeah, so it just, I couldn't get a full, just solid listen with it.
But the listen that you did get with it, I mean, you got a few songs in
Yeah.
here and there. Nothing stood out bad, right?
No,
I mean,
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my take on it is kind of similar to Bri's. I actually got on HiFi forums and asked a question because this dongle actually cuts out. I'll get a few songs in. Actually, the first time I listened to it, I was like, what are you talking about? This is fine. I skipped like 20 songs and it wasn't giving me an issue. And then the next day, I plugged it in again. 2 songs in, the third song, it just cut out and I got no volume, even though it was still playing. And I was like, what the heck's going on? So I unplugged it, plugged it back in, then it worked. And then a couple songs later, it dropped out again. What I'm finding out after going on forums and talking to some people is it sounds like it's an Android related thing. Now, to be fair, this is the M12i. I stands for iPhone because there is something in the technology of this that works better with iPhones. Not better than Android, but I'm saying it works better with iPhones. And I don't know if that's part of it, but I know that the guy that commented back to me said he had a Pixel 8. And on his Pixel 8, he had the same problem, and we have Samsung phones, and both of us had the same problem with it. So I don't know if it's like a permanent issue. I'm sure it's something with Android, not with this. I think this is probably fine. There's just something that's the two don't agree with, and we use the U app. So I don't know. It's possible if we didn't use the U app and only use Tidal, we wouldn't have that problem too. But it's hard to say. Now, it is just a single 3.5 connection, which is fine. But you do control the volume from your phone. There is no volume that you can control. Sorry, phone went off. There's no volume that you can control on the dongle itself. I personally don't like that. I prefer my controls to be on there. I don't think you really care too much about that.
I didn't have a preference, honestly, when it came to the volume. Although, what I will say, so one thing, yeah, I do actually have something to say about that. I noticed on the volume, and I think with the... Oh, I forget. Okay, the RU7 has its own volume. Okay, so yeah, with the Questyle, what I noticed was controlling it from my phone, I would be at a level and want to just go one more up, and then it'd be really loud. Not in like the red zone, right? But like it'd be like really loud, and that it gave me a little bit more of like volume that I wanted, but almost like too much. So then I kick it back down, and it was then too low. So there's like a cutoff point where it's like, it's not like it goes up one notch, it like jumps 2 or 3 and then it, you know, so I do agree. Yeah, it'd be better if you were able to control it from the actual device itself. So
right. I think that's part of the cost to keep it down. It's $149. It does produce good quality audio for the IEMs that I paired it up with. Very comparable to the RU7 at half the price of the RU7, but it is because, you know, you got to think about some of the features that it drops out. Like you said, no volume control on there. There's no line out. There's no balanced, but it's a current output. I'm really liking current output DACs a lot lately because the DC Elite is a current output. The Enlium HPA is a current output. I loved that amp. That was a $3,000 amp. And I got to show you guys because I'm going to be doing a review on this. I don't know how soon I'll get it out because there's a lot to this thing, but this is the CMA-18 from Questyle. It is a $700 portable DAC amp that can do a lot of things, and I just started listening to it last night, so I got no impressions, honestly, to tell you about, but...
And I'm excited to try it, too.
Yeah,
it's not... now I want to, like, experience that, too, so...
Exactly. It didn't make the list of...
It's not in the budget.
This of what we're doing because it would take up the entire budget, and I think we both agree I'd rather spend the money first on the headphone or the IEM than the DAC. It just kind of makes sense. Yeah. But I'll definitely be checking that out. Carmine, hello. Sorry, I missed that.
Hi.
From Toronto. Yeah, just never turn it down. Yeah, funny thing about that, what Alex is talking about is I had that same problem. I forgot to mention that. So I plugged it into my phone actually this morning. I was getting ready to play something, and I was like, something didn't work, so I unplugged it and plugged it back in, and stupid me, I had the IEMs in my ears, and that sucker was on full blast, and I was just, it was like some electronic bass heavy, like shake your brain, and I had to take them out right away because I had made that mistake. So yeah, I mean, that is one downfall about it too. But I mean, even, and I didn't say this in my video of the DC Elite, but now that I think about it, even with the DC Elite, this is a volume attenuator on here. I really wish they would have included some type of a notch to tell you where you're at on the volume control. I mean, it does stop when you go left or right, but until you actually learn what is up and what is down, I mean, the first couple of times I used this, I had it on full blast and didn't realize it because I turned it the wrong way. So, you know, a little notch or something to tell you, it would have been great, but it's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
So, okay, one other thing I want to mention, we're about a half hour in, is I thought it would be fun for you guys that are out there, either watching this now or on the replay. So Bri loves vocal focused music. And you can talk about some of your tracks here in a minute as we get through this, but shout out, or not shout out, but put in the chat or something like any recommended music that you would have that she could check out, because I always like to kind of connect the dots of, that's why I do impressions on my videos, so that even if you don't like my music, you at least know my point of reference. And I think that's good for you too to do.
Yeah.
And for you guys to do, like, hey, this is what I like to listen to. What do you think of this? Warren.
Hey, Warren.
What's going on, Warren? Thanks for jumping in. We just finished up bashing this. No, I'm just kidding. We just finished up talking about the Stage 3. We didn't bash it, I promise. But he already knows. I've talked to him about some of that. But one that we haven't talked about, and we saved it for this live stream, and she's going to break them out now and either make you guys cry with joy or cry with disappointment.
Let's see. I'm going to just put these on, although I don't know if I set them down correctly.
Are you going to put them on?
Well, I mean, you had me put the other ones on.
Well, why don't we show...
Okay, we'll show them off
you can
first.
show them off first.
So, we had a couple people actually suggest these, right?
They did, on the original, yep.
So I know they're not an IEM, but we were able to get them in and give them a listen. And I apologize that we completely butchered the name of it multiple times.
Bathys. Take a bath.
Yeah. So Bathys.
Yes.
So we apologize for that. Just like I think...
I mispronounce everything. So I think you guys by now are just like, whatever. He can't pronounce Jack, so...
Yeah. Didn't we also... the Andromeda?
Yeah.
We
let's
said
not relive that.
Andromeda. So...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys know, like, what their names are, like, until you watch somebody else's review and then find out,
I've learned to Google it. Google's my friend, and it speaks in its Google voice. So.
Yeah. So, so anyway, I'm just going to go through this. So upon unboxing these, I loved, so they come with, like, a cloth kind of, it's not a hard shell, but what would you call the case for it? The case was fairly nice.
Oh, they had a case? Honestly, I didn't even know that.
Oh, geez.
It's been all Bri, so I did not know that. So it has a pretty nice case to them, and it's one of those like clothed kind of like soft shell case. It actually reminds me of like the old school CD holders, you know, like for your car. Right.
So yeah, but anyway, yeah. So pretty nice case.
Sorry, really quick. Audio 46, thank you. They sent these out.
46.
So when I got but when I got the, good Lord, I can't think of the name of the review I just did. The other Bluetooth, the Dolly. When I got the IO12 in to review, he had sent these as a surprise for us. He knew that this was on the original list, and I had even said, like, hey, I'd like to compare these to the Dolly. But as soon as I unboxed them and she put them on her head and she listened to them and fell in love with them, I was like, all right, that's all you. You like them so much, you do the impressions, and go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it's bad to say that I like a Bluetooth headphone.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Honestly, so going back to, I love
They're not Beats.
Yeah, that's true. So I love the look of them. I think they're pretty eye-catching. I wouldn't mind even like wearing these out when I'm working and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I love the look. I'm trying to look through my notes here. Sorry. Yeah, and they're really cushioned and comfortable. Like I thought the pads were like pretty nice and everything.
They are.
So where I would say it probably has some cons. It is fairly small. So for me, it fits my head, I think, pretty well. However, the cups, sorry, and I talk loud, so I'm just going to take them off so I'm not like yelling at the camera. But even though I have smaller ears and everything, I do feel like this is like the max like size of like how small they are that I would probably be able to comfortably wear. So if you've got a big head like this dude over here, they probably wouldn't be as comfortable. But for me, they were very comfortable.
To be fair, Focal's kind of known for this. You guys that listen to a lot of Focal headphones, my Radiants that I had, even though I loved them, they would get hot on my head because the cups are a little bit smaller, especially if you got a closed back with leather like these are. Yeah, it's going to be hot wearing them. And that's what you experienced with. Yeah,
and so I didn't know my ears could sweat, so... So, yeah, so when I think I had them on for like 4 hours, I was like running around the house cleaning, and I loved like the portability of them and just being able to like do whatever I want, fold clothes, do dishes, clean just clean the house up. So I was running around for like 4 hours before I actually like took them off. So like I said, very comfortable. But when I took them off, I was like, oh, wow, my ears sweat. So yeah, so they were very warm. These do also have a DAC capability as well. However, I think we just started to kind of like try to explore that today. The cords that come with them are
jank.
Well, pretty much is
just say it.
So yeah, you're stiff, kind of, like this.
Well, that's yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying like the the initial.
I'm only saying that because Focal headphones I've had in the past. I mean, it's not the greatest cord, but I mean that's not what that headphone's about anyway, is the cord. So
yeah, and I actually maybe you can answer this while we're on this live, but are the cords designed specifically for those headphones, or is that something you can actually change yourself?
No, the connection that it is, you could easily get third party on that connection, so that's not a big deal. That's why I said it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and I know like when I had like the cord plugged in, I mean, it really is only about like this long. So it's like I had it sitting in front of me, and because it was brand new and had just been coiled up, it literally is like crink, 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 crink over. So yeah, the cord isn't anything nice, but I didn't really get a chance. We're still trying to figure out how to like connect it and everything and get a good listen on it. So I'm still exploring this one. As far as the sound goes though, it hit for me like in the 3 areas that I liked. It was great with vocals, very vocal focused. It had great bass. I could hear the instruments the way I like to hear them. So it hit on all 3 of those. So for being Bluetooth and everything, I actually fell in love with them.
Well, I was just going to say, Focal is kind of known for their punchiness and, just impact nature of their headphones. So I wasn't surprised when you told me that. I did listen to them for 5 or 10 minutes. Honestly, not a lot though, because like I said, I wanted you to have your time with them, and I had a lot of other things to listen to, and we still have them. So I'm still planning on listening to them.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I just like running around the house on them. And as much as I had said early in this series that I wanted something where I could hear the kids, it's not a bad thing not hearing the kids. So, I don't know.
It's kind of funny. It's like a muted Flintstone cartoon or something.
So, yeah. The only thing I will say, the buttons for just pausing and going forward, going back on songs, didn't always work. I think I tried it like 10 or so times doing like, it paused just fine doing the 1 click, but then like 2 clicks was to like go forward or go back, and none of them were working for like a good chunk of time. And then finally, I guess I was starting to hit it right. So I think they can be a little wonky on that too. So.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to that too, I'll say like, I don't think I've had a single Bluetooth earbud or headphone that I've tried that wasn't a learning curve and didn't have its quirky issues like you're talking about. It's just one of the things with Bluetooth that's, until we are be able to smack our heads like 3 times or something, I don't know.
Sorry,
it's always going to be
broke my hair tie. I'm just
it's always going to be a little bit strange on that front, and they also light up. Which I didn't even know that about the Bathys. I almost said Bathys. When I first saw those, I didn't realize they had lights in there. It's pretty cool too. And they have an app that you can download, and do different things with them with
Yeah.
EQ and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. So yeah, I personally, I mean, of the three, it was probably one of my favorites. But I know I still like technically want still something more, connected and with a DAC and everything like that to, get a better listen.
Yeah, so right now we've got stage 3, we've got hype 4, and your Bathys there. And I'm guessing if we were going to rank these, it would look kind of like a frequency response curve, and it'd be something like that. So, and then like I said, the DAC, I think we have agreed that we're fine, even with the quirks on it, we're fine settling with the M12i. Just because it does sound really good. And I still say there's got to be something we can figure out with the phone of why it's skipping and doing that. But simple 3.5 connection, you don't have to worry about that. It's plug and play and you're good to go. And don't really need to spend any more of this if we're sticking to IEMs with you. And
Right.
I mean, this worked fine even on a few headphones that I tried it out with. And it's not like I don't already have the RU7 and my desktop stuff that
Right.
you can always use if you ever wanted to. So
Yeah.
I think that's why that was a good recommendation for $150 because you don't have to go way overboard for a DAC and still get good sound
Yeah.
out of these things. And really quick, I noticed, Eddie, thank you for the recommendations there. We will definitely jot those down. I like that. That'll give us a good
Yeah.
reference point. And then did the HiFi over at my 60th birthday person. Yeah, Moondrop variations come up a lot. As far as
Yeah.
IEMs go, that was another one that almost made the list to check out was the variation. So very
Yeah.
cool. What else did we have? Actually, or did we? Maybe that was the end of the list.
We didn't have
Well,
any.
we do, but I can't discuss them. So we've got something else I've got something else that I've had a review. Honestly, I've had the review done for a couple of weeks. I'm just waiting on the product to be released.
Yeah.
I can't say too much more other than it's out there. People know about it as far as it's been at a couple of different CanJams recently of products to check out. And Bri has had a chance
For me, where those went down like that, it's actually in the top spot in
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
my
I mean,
favorites.
I can't wait to release the video just so she can talk about them.
Yeah.
And in fact, since the video's not out, I'm probably going to put you on the video
Yeah.
because you like them so much. But yeah, I mean, we can't really discuss those any further. But I will say, doing this process with you has been really cool to learn what your preferences are right now. And that was actually something that we talked about last night was how, at least when I first got in the hobby, I know some of the first headphones that I had that I thought were fantastic and I loved them. Slowly over time, my preferences have changed, but you're pretty adamant. You think
I am adamant, yeah.
you think you're done. You know what you like and nothing's going to change your mind.
I'm not gonna say that like I won't have an appreciation maybe for specific warmer type, IEMs or headphones. I just know that even though I do have a wide variety of music, I mostly listen to either singer-songwriter or things that are more vocal focused. So it's like, because I'm doing that, and because like I said, because I like the vocals, I like the rawness, the smokiness, the aching, I want every piece of like that artist's like voice. Like I want to hear every crack in their voice. Like those are the things that I'm like passionate about with my music. Those are the things that make me feel some kind of an emotion. So because of that, I do think like I said, it was exciting. It was interesting to find out that like I like a Bright, because I always hear you talk about Bright, but I feel like it's always in like a negative way. And I think I even told you, like, I know I like Bright, but is that a bad thing? And
No.
but
I told her she might like Grados. So
yeah. So but I mean, we were discussing yesterday, just like that's how, I guess, just an example of how subjective music in this hobby is. And so I can appreciate a warm headphone. I don't mind the pretty and the pleasant sounding stuff, but it just doesn't give me what I want from it. So I don't think I will sway from that. I might find a greater appreciation for other headphones and the way they sound and everything, but I still think like I'm still gonna gravitate to that brightness.
Right.
So
yeah, and I mean it kind of makes sense, and I think also some of that is a touch of mid-forwardness And that just basically is like mid-forwardness a lot of times can be talked about, instruments and music and vocals and things being brought more towards you and more intimate. And I think that's probably some of that sound that you like too. But we need to do more testing to figure out if that's exactly what it is or not. There's definitely some mid-forward focused headphones that I've come across. I'd be curious to see if you listen to those. But it also hopefully helps you guys out. Like after this video, there might be something out there that you're like, you know what? There's this IM and it's around this price point and this kind of suits what you're talking about. Shout them out. Let us know because we're not finished. We are getting close. I mean, we know what you like now. I will say that. As far as the dongle DACs goes, as I told you, I don't really think we need to get anything else in at this point. I think the M12i is good. The RU7's gooder.
Gooder.
But I mean, it is. The RU7's great.
No, I do like the RU7.
The DC Elite is honestly my own personal list because I think that thing is fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't know if I'll actually get it eventually. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the impression we've got is that the dongle DAC's just good enough. It's going to suit whatever we get in for what you need for IMs. But yeah, I'm also going to be curious to see what you think of headphones that I get into to listen to and find out. Because it may be a little bit different with headphones. That's the other thing I've learned too with IMs and headphones, because of the headspace, because of how they fit, because of how far they're in their ear as opposed to outside, and then there's all seal and cup size, all that goes into it. There could be a different signature that you like for headphones, and that's going to be fun to discover as well. And which is why I look at my Dan Clark E3 that's sitting behind us. The O2R Classic, I just want you to try those. You love the Aria Organic. Yeah. And kind of makes sense. It's a little bit touch mid-forward, a little bit spicy in the treble at times. So, I don't know. Yeah.
No, I will say, this has actually sparked me to want to, get out every single IEM and headphone that you have in the office and just, start listening to everything. So, honestly, we might, that might be a future stream is more impressions of just stuff. I think that's fun. I mean, I know a lot of people are always interested in what somebody has to say about a product and, why not? I do think that would be a lot of fun, especially once we can actually talk about some of this stuff. That'll make it a little bit more fun. Yeah. So. Yeah. And I apologize. I mean, obviously you guys know that I am just an amateur at all this, so I don't have all the details. When you say spicy, I'm I don't even know what spicy means.
It's not actually a term. It's just something that...
Yeah. But I mean, I didn't even know what bright really meant until discovering what I was liking. And I wanted to throw out there too, it's not just the, like I said, I have 3 very specific. I want some bass. It doesn't have to be heavy bass, but I don't want light bass. I need the vocals. The vocals have to have that presence there. And it is also the instrumentals because I play acoustic guitar, so I want to hear every ringing pluck of the guitar, just all of it is, and I think that's why I do like the more brightness. But even piano, I want to hear every key that's played and everything. So I just have that appreciation for music in that way. So yeah. I mean, so I don't like any of it muted out or toned down or smoothed out. I want to hear it all.
Right, and as you were saying that, it almost kind of reminds you of that's what they call a V-shaped tuning, is when you have elevated bass, elevated treble. But I honestly, and I need to let you listen to some true V-shaped stuff. I have a feeling you won't like that as much because you will drop out some of that mid-range and then you'll be like, where are those piano keys at as much? Right. Because some of that does drop out in a V-shaped tuning. So I don't know, I'd be interested to hear.
Yeah.
Greatest head of the Cause Porta Pros. Funny enough, Alex, I almost brought those out for this stream to say this is it. This is what she likes the most. So I don't think you barely listened to them. I have 4 sets of Porta Pros, and she hasn't listened to one.
No, well, like I said early on, when you started to get into this, he would pull me in. He'd be like, "Hey, listen to this, and I'm like, I don't know. It just sounds like music to me. I don't know what I'm listening for. Yeah, it sounds good, but I think I even told you, I'm like, it doesn't sound any different than if I listened to it on my phone. And you gave me this look oh God, So I think now that I'm learning the differences and what my preferences are and, what, things to look for and what I can appreciate. Like, that's why I said I'm excited to try out like your other headphones.
Yeah, I think honestly, one of the next things I want to do, and I know we've done this at CanJam, but more in an intimate session with you to be able to do it in the house, is listen on tubes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my HA-3A, and tubes just do something completely different. Now, to be fair, what I have is not an OTL tube amp, so it's not going to distort the sound like an OTL does, but tubes still do bring out a difference of profiles of sound, and that could be something that you really enjoy too, especially with ZMF. ZMF and tubes is match made in heaven. So
I mean, I have gotten to listen.
You listen to the Diana TC on the WooTube Mini, which is still a tube amp.
It was one of my favorite listens at CanJam New York. So yeah.
Plostex 900, I know what you're talking about. I remember listening to those at CanJam when you told me to listen to those, Alex. Yeah, that's another one that kind of has that. It does have some brightness to it that you might enjoy as well. I think Plostex just released something new. I'd have to look that up. I thought I saw that come across one of the audio sites I was on. So
yeah, I'm excited for our next CanJam because I feel like it's been.
Yep.
We've been to that. This was our third one.
Yes.
Yeah, our third one.
Well. My fourth year. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it was like I think the first time we went, it was all you. I was just like there taking pictures. Like I'd put them on, but And then the second one, I felt like I knew a little bit more. And so I was getting more into it. And then by New York, I was more into it. But I feel like now, like I have a different appreciation for it that now I'm excited for my fourth one whenever that may be.
She'll be more brave. She'll just go to a booth. These sound like crap.
No, I wouldn't do that.
No, it's one of those things where, funny story, I won't name the company. Honestly, I don't even know if I remember, but there was one that we were listening to and the guy's like right there and had us listen to him. I was like, I got done listening. I'm like, yeah, these are great. Didn't you think they were good? And she's like, yeah, uh-huh. And we walked away and she's like, I didn't like those at all. I don't remember what it was. We're not going to say the name.
Yeah, I know what it is.
But it was funny because I do feel that way too. Like I'm just one of those people where I just can't straight up, like I'll give feedback, but I'll be nice about the feedback. Yeah, it was too bright for my taste. Or yeah, I wish I had more low end or something, but I'm not going to be like this total crap, like take it back type thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. So, I think where we kind of see this going from here is we're going to wait till we get the tips in to try with the Hype 4 to see if that possibly makes these more comfortable for Bri. I really hope it does because, as you said, these are super pretty and just sound really good. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. And then there,
I'd still use them. I mean, honestly, even though they hurt, it's not like I'm going to not listen on them. So
right. No, exactly. And, I think from there, if there's any more recommendations of IAMs that comes out of this, we'll keep an eye out for that, especially if something's more along this preference range of what we're talking about here. And, we got the Bathys. I don't know how much longer we'll have those in for, but so far it's on a list. I will say that because you do like them so much.
It's like I want the Bathys and I want suddenly I want multiple items. So
welcome to the hobby.
Thanks a lot. No.
You can't just have one. That's what they say about
I do.
ZMF.
I want these, but I also want, the other one that we can't talk about right now.
Yes. The one thing I want to know, because these aren't our set to mess with, is I'm wondering if these pads are swappable. I know I can easily Google that and find out, but the reason why I bring that up is because when Bri first listened to these, she did get some makeup on them that did come off, but it does have me worried. If this stains or something, can we replace these pads in the future? I'd be curious to find out. And like I said, a quick search on that will tell us. So
yeah.
Well, we're about at the hour mark, and I'm sure Grandma's about had it with the kids at this point. If I
Grandma
had to
called
guess.
us 10 minutes before we went live.
So yeah, we know we gotta cut out of here. But I'll wait. I'll give this 5 minutes. If anybody has anything, any kind of questions or comments, or anything you guys are curious about, we'll figure out something to fill up 5 minutes of time here. If you don't have any questions, but that'll at least get that in there. And then of course, as always, guys, if you're watching this on a replay, drop something in the comments. Let us know what you think. Do you enjoy this series? I want to do more things like this on my channel because I love doing reviews, don't get me wrong, but I need things to kind of change up the pace. And this has been a lot of fun. And I'm going to continue to have Bri give impressions on things and let her listen, because I do think it's important to get not just my opinion on something, but somebody else that clearly has a different impression of what you enjoy with audio, which is awesome. I mean, I'm glad we don't just both agree. That would be kind of boring. So it gives us something to debate with audio. And like I said, stay tuned for the CMA 18 that I've got here to drop a review on soon. This is honestly intimidating, seeing all the connections and Anyway, so I'll have that one out here in a couple of weeks. And I do believe I've got some stuff coming from ZMF, which I'm really excited about. So shout out to Zach if you're happen to be out there at some point. He's too busy to watch these, but shout out to him and Zach and Bevan. And all you guys that joined in on this stream, I really appreciate that. Thank you for joining in. Do you have any last words of anything?
I think we're going to be spending a lot of money.
That's fair. Probably. I got to buy my tickets for SoCal here soon, so we can at least have that.
And that's going to be all him again.
Unfortunately, I wish that we could both go, but I'll be going to SoCal CanJam for sure, though. I mean, I am going to get the tickets for that soon so that I can be there this year. Okay, I never know how to wrap these up because it's a live. It's not like I'm going to say see you in the next one or anything like that. So thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your evening or day, wherever part of the world that you're in, and we'll catch you again.